When it comes to relationship, we often focus on the romantic gestures, the grand displays of love, and the emotional height. But what about our mental health? It's easy to get swept up in the windwheel of romance and forget to prioritize our own well-being. But the reality is, our mental health is what allows us to truly show up in our relationships, to be present, and to be our authentic selves. One of the most significant changes people face in maintaining their mental health within relationships is codependency. When we become too immersed with our partner, we can lose our sense of identity, our autonomy, and our emotional regulation. We may start to rely too heavily on our partner for validation, happiness, or emotional support, and ultimately, we can become trapped in a cycle of people-pleasing and self-neglect. Another common issue is emotional neglect. When our emotional needs are consistently ignored or dismissed by our partners, we can start to feel unheard, unseen, and unimportant. Tell me if you feel that way in your relationship. You will know that feeling. We might start to doubt our own emotions, our own experiences, and our own values. And if we are not careful, we can become disconnected from our own emotional landscape, leading to feelings of numbness, resentment, and despair. We might also struggle with the pressure to conform to societal norms or expectations. Our partner might have certain standards or believe that they expect us to uphold. And if we don't meet those expectations, we can feel like we're not good enough or that we are failing in some way. And you feel guilty even when you don't know what you've done. And if we are not careful, we can lose ourselves in the process of trying to please others. Finally, there's that challenge of unhealthy communication patterns. When we are not communicating effectively with our partner, we can become stuck in a cycle of conflict, resentment, and hostility. We might start to feel like we are walking on eggshells. I say this all the time. Never knowing when the next argument will erupt. You're like, hope no argument is coming. Let me be very careful before I hurt my partner. And if we are not addressing these patterns, we can become drained, exhausted, and defeated. So how can we reclaim control over our mental health in relationships? One powerful strategy is setting boundaries. By establishing clear limits and expectations, we can protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being. We can prioritize our needs, our own desires, and our own values, and we can learn to say no without feeling guilty or anxious. It took me time to learn to say no. Another essential strategy is practicing self-care. By taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental needs, we can become more resilient, more confident, and more authentic. We can prioritize activities that bring us joy, that nourish our soul, and that help us feel grounded and connected to ourselves. We can also cultivate emotional awareness and regulation by turning into our emotions, acknowledging them, and accepting them. We can become more empathetic, more compassionate, and more understanding of ourselves and others. We can develop a more nuanced understanding of our emotional landscape, and we can learn to navigate our emotions with more ease and intelligence. And finally, we can learn to communicate more effectively by expressing ourselves authentically, listening actively, and responding empathetically, we can build trust, intimacy, and connection with our partner. We can create a safe space for vulnerability, for growth, for transformation. I want to share a personal story that illustrates the transformative impact of taking control over my mental health in a relationship. For a long time, I struggled with anxiety and depression. I felt like I was drowning in my emotions, like I was lost in a sea of uncertainty. But when I started prioritizing my own needs, my own desires, and my own values, everything shifted. I started to feel more confident, more grounded, and more whole. I started to realize that my mental health was not a weakness, but a strength. And that by taking care of myself, I could become a more authentic, more loving, and a more compassionate partner. In today's video, we've explored the importance of taking control over our mental health in relationships. We've discussed common challenges, practical strategies, and powerful insight. Remember, taking care of your mental health is not selfish, it's essential. By prioritizing your own well-being, you can become a more radiant, more resilient, and a more whole person. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with taking control of your mental health in a relationship? What strategies have you worked for? Share your experiences, your thoughts, and your insight in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed in this channel, please do thumbs up and share. And if you want to dive deeper into the topic, check out my next video, where we'll be exploring the power of emotional intelligence in relationship. See you in the